Alright, so we finally did it. Finally got a good Halo game from 343 Industries. And sure, we probably could have gotten a better one if Bungie ended up making an open world Halo game. Yes, it probably would have been better than Halo Infinite. But sadly, they're too busy making the 500th expansion pass for Destiny 2. But we have 343 Industries to give us some hope. Then sometimes they let us down. But surprisingly, a few weeks ago, Halo Infinite released, and I recently beat it, did some side missions, as they call it, and it's not a bad Halo game. It's actually a great Halo game. It's right up there with Halo 1 through 3. The gameplay is sharp, the open world is beautiful, the art design is to die for, just like past Halo games. It's just all around an impressive Halo game. And yes, I keep saying Halo game because Halo's not like any other shooter. It's a game that makes you play as a character called Master Chief. This guy is a superhuman juggernaut, 7 foot tall, 1,000 pounds, pure super soldier. Playing Halo Infinite's story really opened my eyes to what they could have made Halo 4 and 5. The story is more grounded in the world of Halo. It's not out there and deep into the book's lore like Halo 5 was. I mean, I couldn't even understand the storyline of Halo 5 if I wanted to. Cortana transcended into this super AI that thought she was better than everyone, so wanted to enslave the planet, and thought humans were beneath her. So you have to destroy a red orb to stop her plans. It's overly convoluted for the simplest reasons. And that was kind of cringe to me, so I never really got into Halo 5. And with Halo 4, it was over before I could even hate it. Such a short game, and the gap between Halo 4 and 5 was just ridiculous. I don't know why 343 Industries takes so long. I get they want to make the game look good, but around the time when Xbox One focused on multimedia, that's all any of their games wanted to do. They wanted to come out with some kind of series to support their game, like with Quantum Break and especially Halo 5. It's a strange thing to assume that instead of playing video games, someone wants to watch a show based on a video game to know the backstory of said video game. That's not the way it works, especially with PlayStation games. PlayStation exclusives perfectly mixed cinematic with game. That's why we liked it, because it felt like you were in the movie. It wasn't taking you out of the experience of the game so you could watch an episode of Quantum Break or an episode of Halo Guardians or whatever the one was called with Locke. I'm not even gonna do my research because I don't respect that. And it's a shame because the guy playing Locke played Luke Cage, and he's a wonderful actor, very talented, and they got him for the most hated character in Halo history. But besides that, with Halo 5, everything was just off. From the sound of the guns, the look of the new aliens, even Master Chief's armor was strange. It didn't have shoulders. I don't understand it. You want him to look powerful, so you don't give him shoulders? Just a weird design. And they put way too much texture on everything. But that really wasn't enough. And then when Halo Infinite had its first gameplay featurette, people made fun of it, and that casted a lot of doubt. A lot of people just didn't talk about Halo Infinite. Even right before its release, people were just defeated by 343. Now, it seems people are starting to play it and enjoying the hell out of it. I mean, the multiplayer maps alone are amazing in Halo Infinite. Not a lot of people talk about it, but that city area is just something I've always wanted to see. Halo Infinite looks ridiculous. The graphics are just astonishing. The details in every single gun is mind-blowing. The open world equally has as much detail as the models do, and that's crazy to think about. The open world is not that big, but it's big enough to impress you. Traversing it is kind of cool because you're on a damaged ring, Zeta Halo. You're kind of going through the broken pieces of that, so it isn't your typical flat surface that goes to another flat surface, which would have been awesome. I thought that's the reason why it was called Halo Infinite, because you were going to go from one point to another, and it's a ring, so you could just keep on going and going, which is, too on the nose. But I thought you were going to be able to go through the whole ring, but unfortunately it's just a broken piece where Master Chief lost something, so he has to find it. I don't want to spoil, but what takes place in the storyline is heartwarming. It's actually really awesome what they did with it, and there's time and time again where certain characters just keep saying one thing, and I couldn't help but think it was the developers telling us what they thought, because that particular character just kept saying this one thing, just projecting ideas from the past. And that felt very synonymous to what I think the developers felt when they released that gameplay featurette, when they released Halo 5 and people didn't like it. So in certain ways, Halo Infinite is a soft reboot of Halo, especially after the events of Halo 5. And it's honestly a perfect reboot. I love it. I love what they've done with the story. I love the gameplay. The gameplay is amazing. It's another thing that I kind of have my gripes with, but I equally love. From the beginning of the game, they introduced the grapple hook. And at first I was like, oh, just like Dying Light, they shoehorned a grapple hook just so you can get away from people faster, blah, blah, blah. Just like every other game in history, they have a grapple hook, just like Assassin's Creed. But they've Halo-fied it, which means that there is just almost an infinite amount of physics tricks you can add while using the grapple hook. You can reel an enemy in, and depending how far you are from them, you can use your melee to just kill them right away if you're far enough. You can kind of ground pound. You can use it to escape from ambushes, which there are a lot of in the open world. It's just so much fun to go around the open world and climb mountains with the grapple hook, which I've always wanted to do in Halo. I look at a beautiful landscape and I wish I could just scale it like I did in Halo Infinite. And it kind of makes me envious of the other Halo games. I wish they had grapple hooks, because Halo is all about spectacle. And the grapple hook adds to that spectacle. It shows everywhere you've been. Kind of like Metal Gear Solid 5, where you walk all the way up a mountain through a waterfall and you look back and you see everything you've been through. And it looks gorgeous. Halo Infinite does the same thing. And I really love the grapple hook. I didn't expect to love it so much. It changes the gameplay drastically, and it makes it into a better game, especially with multiplayer, even though they limit the use of grapple hook. And that's something I want to talk about. Limiting grapple hook is fine with multiplayer, because I get it. You could just get away from the other players like Batman whenever the heck you want, and they don't want you to spam it too much. Instead of limiting it, they should have made like a 10-second delay or something like that. Then there would probably be a lot of campers. I don't know. But that's fine. Limiting it to 5 is okay. But main story, they give you other gadgets like the shield, thrusters, enemy indicators, and something else. The reason I don't know the something else is because I never ever use the other gadgets. I'm not sure why they make the grapple hook such a huge focus as a gadget if they're going to add other ones that completely replace it. Replacing the grapple hook is the worst idea. It automatically makes you vulnerable, and it makes it so much harder to board Banshees. And I love just jumping from a cliff, going to a Banshee, aiming at the pilot with my grapple hook, and automatically commandeering the vehicle. That's such an awesome feeling. It's something I've always wanted in Halo, just, being more mobile than you are. Because in Halo, it's strange. You kind of had to go near a ghost to hijack, but he tries to run you over, so you have to like jump over, and then when he hits a wall, you take the vehicle. Or it's when one of the elites or grunts are chilling in the ghost in like Halo 2 and 3, and you hijack while they're just doing nothing. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like you've really earned hijacking ghosts in Halo 2 and 3 sometimes. Unless you just escape death because they hit a wall trying to kill you. In this, you can distance yourself from the ghost. You can jump clear over them and then grapple hook down and just hijack that easily. And it is not that much easier because the AI is very smart. They know when you're coming. So it is kind of a trick in itself to grapple hook onto a vehicle. It's not that simple. And that's another thing. If in the next Halo Infinite or Finite, whatever they want to call it, it would be amazing if they have a button designated specifically for the grapple hook, or a primary gadget and secondary gadget. So there would be literally infinite possibilities. You can grapple hook onto something, throw your shield, throw the indicator, and then land on your feet, know exactly where that person's going to be, and you defend yourself from them. There's so many possibilities. Just thinking about what they could have done just by adding a button designated to the grapple hook would have been so much better. It's just such a lost opportunity. I'm just not sure why they made your gadgets changeable. I'm sure they did it because they didn't want Master Chief to be overpowered, and they wanted the AI to have any kind of fighting chance. But he's Master Chief. He overpowers everyone. That's what he does. That's who he is. Overpowering Master Chief is okay. I don't think adding a primary and secondary gadget is a bad thing. So yeah, that's my only gripe. The fact that I never get to use the other gadgets, because I find the grapple hook to be essential, just like everyone else. It was kind of a weird decision because I'm pretty sure in Halo Reach or something that came after, there was a perk that either let you sprint or use a jetpack. And I'm like, who the heck would pick sprint over a jetpack? But also, why isn't sprint just in the game? It was just so strange. And I'm not sure if 343 did that, but it sounds like something they would do because they just don't make the grapple hook essential. But now they made the sprint have its own button. But moving on, the AI is just amazing. There is one enemy in particular, besides the super brutes, or whatever they're called, that just get my blood rushing every time they show up. It's the pair of hunters. The pair of hunters would show up in the past and you'd be like, okay, all I need to do is just let you try to hit me and then I shoot your back twice and you're dead with just a pistol or something, right? Halo 2, okay, you do like a little side swipe, you do some jumps left and right, all right, you can dodge a little more, but I still popped you in the back and you're dead. It was a little harder in Halo 2. Halo 3, it kind of felt like the same thing. It didn't feel like the hunters were that different. In Halo Reach, I feel like they were different, but all they did was really like shoot more when you were far away. But in Halo Infinite, these hunters are terrifying. They come in pairs. They always face you. They never let you fake them out and try to hit you at all. They know what you're planning. So I tried my little trick and he just shot me in the face. He was like, oh, I was there in Halo 1. I know what you're doing. And bam, shot me like 5 times in the face with that Gus cannon thing. At least I think that's Gus cannon. It's like red now. It's not green. So it's a little different. But he shot me 5 times with that and I died. When they hit, it's when you turn your back is what I find. They hit when you're not looking at them, so they get your back just like you did in the past. And it's so tough just to shoot their back. What you have to do is get the grapple hook, which is essential, and then grab one of those explosives. You know, those rectangular explosives, just throw it behind them and it just shoots them in the back. You do it like 3 times, boom. That's how I kill them every time. But it's so hard to do that because they're fast. And sometimes they turn a little bit to prevent you from doing it, which is crazy because I thought a strategy that insane wouldn't be comprehensible by an AI, but it is. And that's not the end of it. When you finally kill your first hunter, the second hunter roars at you, which is horrifying, and then chases you down and starts screaming at you because it's furious that you killed the first guy. So not only is killing hunters harder, but killing the second hunter is even more difficult than the first because they're upset that their twin brother is dead or something like that. So yeah, hunters suck in this game in all the best ways. It's kind of like the Marauder from Doom Eternal. When they show up, you gotta stop everything you're doing. You can't have fun anymore. You gotta strategize and fight for real. And sure, you can use plasma weapons to pop off their armor sometimes, but you gotta shoot them so much. At that point, you may as well just look for explosives to throw behind them. But yeah, Halo Infinite is an awesome game. Storyline is great, but I think it's a little too early to talk about the storyline. Not that I will talk about the storyline. But Halo is back and I love it. It's snappy. It doesn't feel exactly how Halo felt, like how Destiny feels. Destiny feels like how Halo felt. I'll admit that. So it's not like completely smooth, but it is snappy. And for some reason, the auto aim is just stuck on. So traversing the world and automatically aiming to like ghosts that are chasing you or trying to run you over is a little jarring, because you just want to have a smooth traversal through the open world. So snapping to each enemy is a little off-putting sometimes. The last gripe I have with the game, unfortunately, is the side missions. There are none. There's no side missions, no side story. There's just, hey, there's Marines there. Hey, there's a weapon there. You got to get it. And it's while you're passing it. It's not like you have a list and you're like, oh, I need to get the thing. The fob bases, something like that. Like, hey, you got to get the fob base. I'm like, what's the point of the fob? And they're like, oh, it's so you could just fast travel. To what? What am I fast traveling to? There's no missions. So fast traveling is redundant, and the open world, in my opinion, even though it's amazing and I would not take it back, is in theory kind of redundant. Just, I don't know why it's there if there's no side missions. But it is an amazing playground just for you to go around and kill grunts and hear their incredibly hilarious dialogue. Grunts were the heart and soul of this game. Whenever they would announce something, I would sit and wait until I kill that guy that's announcing because I want to hear what he has to say. He's very important to the game. So yeah, hopefully 343 adds some essential side missions, like actual side missions, because I would completely love to go back into that world anytime, but right now I'm kind of done with it. I played for 20 hours or so, and I don't really see a point in going back unless I'm doing harder difficulties, which that would make the hunters harder, so I'm not sure I'm hyped to go back into a harder difficulty because enemies are going to be tough, real tough. They were tough in normal mode, actually. I had a hard time with the last boss in normal mode. I was terrified in normal mode. That dude was chasing me everywhere. I had no idea what to do, but I beat him the first try, but it took me a long time because I was running away. So in Heroic, I don't know what he's just going to burrow into the ground and come up the other side. I don't know how Heroic's going to be, and it seems like they add enemies in Heroic, so he's probably going to have henchmen with him. That's going to suck. But I always love a challenge, like with games like Ninja Gaiden. I love hard games, but not all the time. So I will be going back to Halo Infinite in the harder difficulty, Heroic, Legendary. But for right now, I'm very satisfied. I give the game an official 9 out of 10. It's missing the side missions, but I think the main story is enough to carry the game and to get kids and teenagers interested in Halo's multiplayer, which is very expansive. The multiplayer is going to blow up. It's going to be something big. And I'm surprised I'm saying that because compared to Halo's past, I didn't think anything could meet expectations. But Halo Infinite has met expectations. All they need is a little more fine-tuning and it would be perfect. But for right now, it's just amazing, which is enough for me. All I wanted was a good stepping stone for Halo, so newer games could expand on that. But yeah, let me know in the comments below exactly what you thought of Halo Infinite's campaign and what you think of the multiplayer. If you like this video, leave a like. If you dislike, oh well. Have a good one, guys. Later.